Welcome back to Girl Boss SA. I'm Zanem Vula, and if this is your first time visiting Girl Boss SA, we're a channel that is about empowering the Black woman, educating and understanding the African identity, African history, and African spirituality. In African religion, as it's referred to as African religion, but I have a bit of an issue with the word religion because religion is a belief system. It's based on a belief system. African tradition, African science is based on a knowledge system. And in the African knowledge system, rain, it's about fertility. The fundamental component of rain is to fertilize the earth so that the earth can sustain us. It plays a pivotal role in the cycle of life, in the cycle of nature. And African spirituality is based on the study of nature. So the fundamental of that cycle of nature and our existence relies on procreation. Fertility is the process that enables the transmission and the regeneration of life. It's ultimately the most important thing to African people. It's a phenomenon that's not restricted to human beings only because it encompasses everything. It encompasses land, animal fertility, plant life. The way that the sky and the earth connect to embody the function of fertility is through rain. Water is the original source. Water is the oldest living element. It is the first element that is mentioned in the creation story. The creation story talks about the waters of Noon, the waters of the abyss. The creation story of the Chewa people links the beginning of human life on earth with the advent of the first rain. The story talks about the first man and woman that fell from the sky, who were accompanied by thunder, lightning, rain that covered the land, created rivers and seas. And in creating rain, then the sky fertilizes the earth. It's a cycle that's in alignment with the cycle of life, the circle of life, the cyclic nature of creation, because creation is constant. Rain has always been revered in African culture for as far back as we can recall our history, as far back as literature goes that details the history of our people. Rain has always been one of the most important components in the sustenance of agriculture, because agriculture is one of the things that sustain us. So rain is the source of life for crops. Drought is one of the most devastating things that can happen to any community. So for this reason, rain has always been very sacred. It's thought of as God's gift to human beings to ensure their welfare. As far back as we can detail our history, Africans have always had ceremonies where they summoned the rains, where they would give offerings and perform rituals. We've always believed in rainmakers. We've always understood the science of rainmaking as African people. We've always practiced the science of making rain. Different tribes throughout the continent have different ways of making it rain. There's rain dances. Some of our cultural practices have become lost to us, as we go along, also because of the deep colonization that we're living in. We have culture throughout Africa who also have rain specialists within those communities, and we call them rainmakers. Rainmakers are very highly revered in those communities. They're also seen as kind of the royalty of those communities because they sustain the life. They know the science of making it rain, and we also have to be appointed as a rainmaker. You have to be not just appointed by the community, but also chosen. You have to be chosen by the gods, and often it's a gift that's passed down your lineage, but ultimately the original rainmaker of your lineage will be a rainmaker that was chosen by the gods. And they know that through divination processes and also events that take place, cosmic events that take place. The rainmakers of communities usually have a lot of responsibility because being capable of making it rain makes you the gift bearer that has the power to sustain life. So the responsibilities that they hold include presiding over sacrifices, offerings, and prayers, just acting as intermediaries between the world of the living and the world of the spirits. Often, if there's no appointed rainmaker, then a king can actually play the same role. Often, if there's no appointed rainmaker, then an elder or a king can play the role of the rainmaker, because it's ultimately about having the intermediary that can communicate to the gods on your behalf as the community. That's always been the point of royalty in African culture throughout the continent. It's always been the purpose of royalty. So being royal meant you had to be initiated into to your spiritual abilities, your abilities to connect to the gods, to communicate with the gods, and to receive messages from the gods. As a king, a queen, or an elder, you could be appointed a rainmaker because you're ultimately appointed to communicate with the gods. For instance, the Manyika people of Zimbabwe have a rain ceremony every year in November, held under the authority of the Manyika king. One example of this ceremony in South Africa is the Lovedu people. On the 22nd of October, they'll usually approach their queen with gifts, dances, and songs, and they just organize an elaborate ceremony known as the rain-making ceremony to appeal to her benevolence, because she is believed to possess the power to control rain. And because she controls the rain, she controls the welfare of her society. So they respect her, they fear her. She is the embodiment of the divine and cosmic order on which harmony and balance rest. Because without rain, there can be no life. The deity in Kemet that's associated with rain is Tefnut. She's the goddess of moisture, the goddess of rain and mist. In Southern African cultures, I know in Nguni culture, we have Nomkhubulwane, who's the goddess of rain, of nature, earth, fire, air, and water as the fundamental elements to connecting with the deities. So the deities are linked to the four elements. They're linked to all the elements of nature, of life, and everything that constitutes our existence. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to elaborate more on the Rain Queen in the next video, so do check that out. Thank you so much for watching. Don't be afraid to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for your support.